On August 5th, 2019, a resolution was passed in Indian Parliament which will change the future of Jammu and Kashmir. A special presidential order and a subsequent resolution was passed to remove Article 370, which grants special status for Jammu and Kashmir. But recently, on November 6th, 2024, the newly elected Jammu and Kashmir Assembly has passed a resolution urging the central government to start a dialogue considering restoring of Article 370. This resolution has led to lot of opposition from BJP leaders. They argued that the resolution was not part of the business and they stopped assembly proceedings. So why is this article revoked and why do they want to bring it back? And what is the importance of this article to the people of Jammu and Kashmir? And will Article 370 ever come back? So first, let's learn some history. Before 1947, Jammu and Kashmir was a princely state which was ruled by Maharaja Hari Singh. He was a Hindu ruler in a majority Muslim state. While British was leaving this country, they introduced Indian Independence Act of 1947, which gave the princely states three options. That is, to join the Indian Union, or join the newly formed Pakistan, or retain sovereignty as independent state. Maharaja Hari Singh initially chose to be independent and was hoping not to align with either Pakistan or India. However, this neutral stance did not last very long because both India and Pakistan were looking to control Jammu and Kashmir. So Pakistan made a move. So Pakistan initiated a covert operation with the help of tribals to attack Jammu and Kashmir. On October 22nd, 1947, tribal military that was backed by Pakistan's army launched an invasion of J&K, and this operation was known as Operation Gulmarg, which was aimed to annex J&K by force. Thousands of tribal invaders, armed and promised of a loot, swept through the region and committed atrocities, particularly in areas like Muzaffarabad and Baramulla. The Maharaja's force was defeated and invaders came close to capture Srinagar, the capital of J&K. The feared Maharaja started negotiating with India. He turned to India for military assistance. Indian leaders, including Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru and his deputy Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, agreed to help Maharaja under one condition. They said that they would help Jammu and Kashmir, but they have to be part of India. So on October 26th, 1947, Maharaja Hari Singh signed an agreement to formally join independent India. So there were two important points that were included in this agreement. Number one, the agreement said that India's control over Jammu and Kashmir would be very limited and it will be only restricted to three areas: defense, foreign affairs and communications. And the rest of the matters will be controlled and governed by Jammu and Kashmir. It also stated that this agreement will be of a temporary nature. So the agreement gave the power to people of J&K and the ruler. So the next day, on October 27th, 1947, India's Governor General formally accepted the agreement of accession and the Indian troops were airlifted to Srinagar to defend Jammu and Kashmir. Indian troops quickly countered tribal invaders, pushing them back from Srinagar and key areas. This fight escalated the First Indo-Pak War from 1947 to 1948. As Pakistan sent regular troops despite Indian advances, Pakistan managed to get hold of some regions of J&K, which came to be known as Pakistan Occupied Kashmir, POK. After this, to gain the support of majority Muslim population in J&K, Indian leaders offered significant autonomy to the state. Sheikh Abdullah, a very popular leader of National Conference, negotiated with Indian government seeking constitutional guarantees for J&K's special status. Following all this, Article 370 was drafted, which was included in Part 21 of Indian Constitution. With these key provisions, J&K would have its own constitution adopted in 1956. The Indian Parliament's legislative power in J&K were restricted to matters of defense, foreign affairs and communications. Presidential orders could extend additional provisions to the constitution of J&K, but only with state government's approval. Remember the third point, because this will be used by Indian government to remove Article 370 in later stages. Because of Article 370, any laws that are passed by Indian Parliament is not applicable to J&K. To pass any law, the Indian government is required to take approval from J&K's government, that is Council of Ministers and Chief Minister, and approval from Legislative Assembly, that is elected representatives. Apart from this, J&K has its own constitution, its own flag, which can coexist with Indian flag. They also gave special rights to permanent residents via Article 35A, such that the people from rest of India cannot buy any land in Jammu and Kashmir. They also can follow their own tax, election laws, and the Supreme Court's jurisdiction is very limited on J&K. So Jammu and Kashmir was a separate country within a country. So this was not liked by many people, and especially was criticized by current Indian government leaders. So they decided to remove Article 370. But removing Article 370 is not easy at all. Many events have to fall in place. So this is what happened. After the 2014 Jammu and Kashmir's legislative elections, no party won majority in 87-member house. Almost 4 months passed and no one was agreeing to form a government. On March 1st, 2015, that's when a historic coalition government was formed by PDP and BJP. Mufti Muhammad became Chief Minister and Nirmal Singh became his deputy. This was the first time BJP was ever part of Jammu and Kashmir's government. But this coalition government had lot of ideological differences and they fought within themselves for a lot of policies, and hence as a result a collapse happened in 2018. The government was collapsed because PDP themselves do not have majority in the assembly. When a government is collapsed, according to Jammu and Kashmir's constitution, governor's rule will be imposed. Now, according to J&K's constitution, a governor rule can last only for 6 months. If the elections are not conducted within this time frame, then a president's rule will be imposed. So on November 2018, as no progress was made on forming a new government, president's rule was imposed. Now in president's rule, president does not directly go there and start ruling or bring some government policies or take states matters into his own hands. They appoint a governor on president's behalf. So this appointed governor will lead president's rule on his behalf. So Governor Satyapal Malik was appointed. He played a pivotal role in removal of Article 370. Remember the third point of Article 370? To cancel any law. So the Indian government should take approval from Chief Ministers and the Council of Ministers and J&K's Constituent Assembly. Now, since November 2018, J&K was under President's rule, which meant the central government had direct control over the state, which means the first condition is sorted. Now, to take approval from J&K's Constituent Assembly, there was no assembly there because the government collapsed. So BJP came up with alternative solution. On August 2019, President Ramnath Kovind issued a presidential order to amend Article 367 in the context of Jammu and Kashmir. It redefined the key term Constituent Assembly was reinterpreted to Legislative Assembly. So with this one change, since there is no government in J&K, the appointed governor will act as Legislative Assembly. So now the Indian government got approval from the appointed governor and they immediately introduced a resolution in the parliament for the removal of Article 370. And after that, the parliament has successfully passed that resolution, and that's how Article 370 was removed. So why did this issue again come up in November 2024? Because J&K conducted its very first assembly session in November 2024 after a decade, and the election resulted in a coalition government formed by National Conference and the Congress Party, with Omar Abdullah being the Chief Minister of the state, who is the grandson of Sheikh Abdullah. So on this inaugural session, they introduced a resolution in the assembly to restore Article 370 that was removed by previous government. they introduced a resolution that was to restore Article 370. Now this move led to a significant opposition from Saffron party, opposing the resolution and leading to several disruption in J&K assembly. Though BJP has opposed this, as of November 6, 2024, a resolution was passed to restore Article 370 in J&K assembly, which means the Indian government has to initiate a dialogue between the J&K representatives to restore the Article 370. Though this resolution was passed, it does not have the authority to reinstate Article 370, as constitutional amendments require action in the national level. This can just initiate the dialogue between Indian government and J&K to restore Article 370, but it's not that easy, especially under this government. So let's see what happens. So I hope you understood the whole history of Article 370. With that said, that's it from my side. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, bye bye.